Giddy up, Dak Prescott. I used to think Cam had the best hats, but Dak Prescott now in firm first place there. Michael Vick
like
joins us
hat.
once again. Mike, how impressive was that 20-point comeback by the Dallas Cowboys yesterday?
Very impressive. And it's so good to see Dak on that podium with a smile on his face, man. He's had to overcome so much, whether it's in life or contract talks or whatever the case may be. Dak came out victorious. And it wasn't just Dak. It was a total team effort. Those guys battled. You know, it came down to a special teams play in which they had to make a smart play. And that's a critical play in the game because, you know, you have to be cautious and you can't touch that ball until you're supposed to touch it. And I think they made a great play at a critical moment, a critical junction in the game. But when you look at the game in totality, you know, a couple things stand out. I thought the run game was very efficient. I thought CeeDee Lamb stepped up big. Amari Cooper stepped up at the right time. And Dak did what he was supposed to do. The defense played a great part in this win. And Brandon, I know you've been a part of big wins like this. It does so much for your team and your morale moving forward that, you know, you feel like you can beat anybody. And the Falcons, they're not a bad football team. You know, they're great offensively. So you have to, you know, be sound on your the defensive side of the ball. For the most part,
I'm sorry. Come on, Mike. I think it was a. Mike, I think it was a 0.1%. You think they're good on offense? Mike, they had a 0.1% chance of losing this game.
It's correct. Yeah, no, I mean, no doubt. So they lost the game. I mean, they had a chance to win it. It's just the Cowboys did what they needed to do at the right time. But, I mean, all in all, it was good to see Dallas pull this one out, man. They needed it more than anything. And it would have been catastrophic if they would have lost this game. We all know that.
Yeah. Mike, football doesn't change. You played on a couple teams, and you know there's some things that's just universal. Like we have some universal rules, whether it's like, you know, we walk into that meeting on Wednesday, that coach stands in front of the team. He's looking at third down. He's looking at red zone. He's looking at situational football. He's also looking at turnovers, right? Like we look at turnovers, which is one of the biggest things. It's like, okay, if you lose the turnover battle, you're probably going to lose the game. Like that's one of the things that we emphasize no matter what team you're on, no matter what locker room you're in, we talk about winning the turnover battle. So for them to overcome that, they had 3 turnovers. Atlanta had 0. They were down 20 points in the first quarter. So I'm looking at this like 2 ways. I'm looking at the Dallas Cowboys. I'm saying, man, what a hell of a comeback. That was impossible for them to come back, and it says a lot to Dak Prescott. You know, I challenge Dak to take off because I feel like it'll be hard for him to overcome what's going on around him. But this dude threw for 450 yards. And that speaks a lot to who he is, his character, his leadership. And then on the other side of the field, you're looking at the Atlanta Falcons, and it's like, how many times are you going to do this? How many times are you going to give up games like this? You know, I say this it's not respectfully because it's only week 2. We're going in week 3. But when you look at, you know, it could be an overreaction. It could be an overreaction. I talked about this for the last 2 weeks. Like, hey, guys, it's still early. But Dan Quinn, you have to look at yourself and say, what am I doing here? And if your ownership is like, is he going to make it through this year? I think this is a tough situation for the Atlanta Falcons. Mike, I disagree with you. I don't think they're a good team. I think they're an underperforming team.
So you know why they call me I'd be a clubhouse cancer, Nick. I'd be like, Wild's not good in the locker room. Because if I was in the Cowboys locker room, like, guys, this is what we do. Dak, great job, buddy. We pulled it out. We got to believe in each other. We did it. I would be the jerk in the side and be like, I don't know. They kind of just lost the game, guys. I mean, we played fine, but they really just made like an all-time epic mistake.
Correct.
They'd be like, get Wilds out of here. First of all, he weighs 180 pounds. Like, he doesn't even play. Like, what is he doing? So I just would I'd be bad for the Cowboys, Nick. I would not be celebrating the Cowboys at all. I would just be like, guys, they screwed it up. We didn't really win.
You're so close to being on the Cowboys.
That is That is the exact right, Wildes. While maybe it wouldn't make you a good teammate for the Cowboys, that is the correct analysis here. Listen, the Cowboys are incredibly lucky. They did everything they could to lose this game. Their first drive, they go 3 and out and fumble, but it gets overturned.
So did the Falcons.
Then Dak fumbles. Then Zeke fumbles. Then they try a fake punt that involves the punter throwing a long out pass. It shockingly comes a yard short. Then Dalton Schultz fumbles. They then climb all the way back, get it within 5 points, and immediately give up back-to-back long drives, and they try another fake punt that fails epically. In the midst of all that, they get beat on a trick play. Julio just drops it. The Cowboys could have lost this game 45-20, and somehow they came away with a win. So you're happy in the standings. But when it comes to how are we going to match up next week against Seattle when Russell Wilson has this year damn near as many touchdowns as incompletions, as a wise man once said, it ain't great. And this play at the end, everyone keeps saying it's a great kick by Zuerlein. I mean, I guess, but if you watch it, the Falcons guys, they're not doing anything. They're just watching.
They're not
the
supposed
ball.
to.
They're not supposed.
That's what they're supposed to do. It can't go. You can't go up and touch it if it doesn't cross 10. That's what you're trained to do. This is the toughest situation a wide receiver or anybody on the front line can be in. It's just a tough situation. It was a perfect kick with the perfect amount of speed to keep guys indecisive.
Guys, I understand.
Put me back in the game, then. I'm back in the Cowboys.
Hold on. I get
I'm back
that
on the
Dallas
Cowboys.
is
They'd be
not
like, put
allowed to
Wildes
touch
in.
it
He knows
for
nothing. Jump
10
on the ball.
yards. Hold on. I get that Dallas can't touch it for 10 yards. I understand that. But the Falcons guys are not hitting any Dallas player. They're not close to the ball. You could just fall on it. Like, I understand that in most circumstances,
but if you fall,
it's like, listen,
if you fall on the ball and you don't get it, it becomes a live ball, right? If it doesn't go 10, if it doesn't get yes,
so
exactly. So you got to understand.
You're the hands
you got to
team.
Understand.
Fall on it and get it. Like, that's the thing is, or bat it out of bounds. Here's all I know, Brandon. You're right, and you've been in these spots, and you can tell me why I'm wrong. But this cannot be how it's coached. Watch it. And wait
it is
for
how
it,
it's coached.
And let
it is,
nobody.
It is how it's coached. I'm telling you, this is how it's coached. 13 years being in this position as the number one wide receiver, so every onside kick opportunity, I'm in there, and I'm also coaching up those guys in the front. The reason why this is difficult, and it was the perfect kick and the perfect amount of speed, is because what we're taught is if it doesn't look like it's going 10, stay away from it. That's what they're taught. So if it was a little slower, then you would see guys literally walking back to the sideline like, okay, it's going to be our ball. It's not going to make 10. If it's going a little bit faster, you're seeing guys attack it, going to go get their blocks. You're going to see Julio Jones rush up to the ball and jump on it. But because it was kicked the way it was with that amount of speed, it kept everybody in this gray area. I'm telling you, yes, from outside looking in, it looks like.
Let me ask a question, Brandon, because we've talked about how Bill Belichick, part of his brilliance is he always coaches for what happened to the whole league. What is Bill Belichick showing his team with this film about how they're supposed to do it in the future if they're Atlanta?
That's a good question.
Teaching tape.
That's a good. There you go. That's exactly what Mike and Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots started this. So it's not only when they come in on Wednesday, they're going to look at the good plays and the bad plays from Seattle. What they're going to look at is maybe 5 to 10 plays around the league, situational football like this. What could we have done better? And I'm going to be honest, Mike, you might have an answer, but for me being in this situation so many times, I wouldn't know what to do if I'm Julio Jones.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.